Hello and welcome to this IPQS webinar. Very pleased to have you join us today. Today we're going to be talking about some new and exciting products from IPQS. And we're going to be talking about this in the context of what's actually going on in the threat landscape and why these are so important today. Taking us through this, we have Dennis Weiss, our CEO, and also Shay Craft, heads up our solutions engineering. So he's out there solving these issues with customers every day. If you've got any questions throughout the webinar, please do feel free to use the Q&A function. We'll try to get questions answered at the end. If we don't have time, we don't get around to it, we'll try and reach out individually to answer that. So with that, Dennis, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Lizzie, for that intro. So everyone, it's great to be with you again and chat with you about what's happening. We have some awesome updates at IPQS, a lot of data enhancements, and we're going to break down why those are important and what we're doing to make those live. So as you can see, next-gen threat intelligence starts here, and this is what we're going to talk about. Threat landscape is evolving, and my biggest question to you, are you ready? So what we're seeing is a lot of synthetic identities being used, and then we're seeing risky emails, rotating proxies, those pesky residential proxies, and then all of that being automated. We're living in a world where fraud isn't a manual attempt anymore, it's an automated attempt at a mass scale. So with the updates and upgrades that we're doing, we're helping you solve those issues. So whenever we do anything at IPQS, we love to have it data-driven, but we love to have very good information behind it. As you can see on this slide here, synthetic account fraud, we're seeing over 80% of new account fraud coming from this. So average loss, $15,000. Business email compromise, credential stuffing and ATO, and proxy and IP abuse is always evolving and happening. So if anyone knows me, my biggest thing at IPQS is a multi-layered approach. And it's really important for you to follow this because fraudsters are looking at weaknesses from IP to email to device, spoofing their information and all that. So these two new products that we came up with and two data enhancements can be seen here. So we've enhanced identity data coming out. This is going to help you stop fake users, verifying names, phone, and we've teamed up with credit bureaus and utilities to get this information. We've launched an email verification database. So I believe this is the first one ever because I've never seen anyone successfully do this, but we have a huge database of emails that we're seeing in real time, and we're collecting those and giving you an on-premise solution. We actually launched an IP address abuse feed, which is basically doing the work for you. So as you know, we already sell an IP database, which basically shows you every IP address in there. We give you a fraud score, but basically we're helping you sift through all of that and figure out what's really happening in the past 5 minutes. So in real time, basically, we're telling you these are the most abusive IP addresses out there. And then also we have more interesting data in our proxy network, and we're actually identifying those for you. So I'll hand it to you, Shay, and let you kind of break down everything.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, thank you. All right. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining on today. We're going to hop right into the enhanced identity data section of the spotlight. So one of Dennis's favorite sort of catchphrases is that we do the KYC before the KYC or without the KYC. And now we're sort of introducing a component to layer in with our existing approach of looking at risk around a network, whether that's a residential proxy or a commercial VPN provider, or they have a malicious hardware or software configuration on their device. We are looking to enhance on our email and phone data the identity information. So being able to provide a way to identity match, not just from, do we trust this device, this individual, from the metadata around their connection and things of that nature, but the actual user information that they're submitting. Conventionally, you could just go and purchase this information off the dark web and stuff that in. So that's why we focused on the former before, but now it's important to understand the integrity of the data that's being input. And this is especially useful for new account registration, or whenever somebody with an existing account maybe changes their phone or email address. Layering this in, increasing the trust that you have around this person being who they say they are from authoritative organizations within the US, like credit bureaus, telcos, and those utility providers. And so the information that we're now passing back to clients, given an email or a phone, is full names, approximate ages or exact ages, other associated email and phone number information, and then physical addresses as well. So again, useful for account registration purposes, and transaction verification as well. Okay, cool. This is, I think, my favorite product from the first quarter, the favorite product release, because like Dennis said, we've never seen this on the market. I've never seen a sort of flat file email verification database. It's always conventionally been verification over the API, and you give us an email, you have to wait maybe 350 milliseconds to 2 seconds or greater, depending on the mail server. And so we can really cut that out, that latency need, providing a flat file database with approximately 1.6 billion email addresses right now, billion, and that is expected to grow to 3 billion by the end of the year. So this is going to be a flat file that, for those of you that already use the IP database, you're familiar with this ingestion. It's local, it's internally hosted, and you sort of manage and maintain that. We're cutting out the network latency. This is more in line with compliance or data security, privacy needs, and you're able to get an email signal, whether that be the validity, deliverability, is it disposable? What is the good user activity around this email address, in under a millisecond, as opposed to maybe half to multiple seconds. So very exciting, because I've never seen this this kind of product on the market right now. So really kind of breaking through on this aspect, and creating a whole new market. First to do it. Cool. So rotating proxies. For that, we've talked a lot about residential proxies. That's where the most sophisticated fraud is coming from. So most oftentimes people are using, or clients that are using the IP database, or the existing API. You're familiar with how to consume this information, and how this is being flagged over the past 24 to 48 hours. But sometimes that's not enough for, especially at scale, attacks or things that happen at the network level. So as opposed to your business layer logic, and IPQS slotting in there, we're really going to be targeting, or we're able to target network level blocking with the abuse feed. So every 5 minutes, you're going to be able to ingest a list of IP abuse events and compromises, as soon as these are detected, and that can really give you an edge on more of the sophisticated fraud attacks. If this is automated, or if this is a newly compromised IP address, you're going to know within 5 minutes of us identifying that. And why this is also more important, we have 50 million IP addresses right now, in that, from sort of the start of pushing that data out. But really, you're able to stop an order of magnitude larger of the abusive events or fraud, because these are just where it's happening, right? This isn't always what. And so, you're able to stop just using these IP addresses. and being ahead of the curve of identifying this, thousands of dollars of fraud, like Dennis mentioned. This is also a self-hosted solution. So if you are an IP database customer, this is going to be very interesting for cybersecurity use cases, DDoSing, mitigating those, or blocking scraping or automated bot attacks. So very exciting here. I think we have the largest amount of data as far as residential proxy networks go, and really proud of the engineering team for pushing this one out. Definitely sort of a game changer for our largest clients. Cool. And then lastly, alongside those automated attacks, we're still adding in, you can still benefit from all of these residential proxy network classifications, identifications on existing IP API responses. So, we can provide to you not only, that this is a residential proxy or this has been involved in some sort of abuse or fraud event, but we can tell you and identify exactly where this IP address has been compromised. And so that way, we're not operating as a black box. This isn't randomly generated information. This is, hardline, source data that you can use to increase the I guess rigor or strictness around how you handle an IP address, and it gives more explainability to end users. Before you may ask, why is this a residential proxy? Well, you can see that it's available on 7 proxy marketplaces, and that's why, right? Explainability is a big factor here, and really helps with preventing those automated attacks. And so that's the 4 products, for Q1 2025 from IPQS. We had, our enhanced identity data, email database. We have that IP address abuse feed, and then the proxy network field. All of these are fun and exciting, but we're still also investing a lot of time into our existing products, our core. So the IP data, the device fingerprinting on both web and mobile. On mobile, we've significantly expanded the development team there. This year we're going to double, maybe triple our engineering team. And so we're really dumping a lot of resources into becoming, I say we're the best already, but creating that gap, increasing the gap even further. And so for all of these products that we've introduced, we're still giving a lot of attention to the core. And these slot in really well with our existing suite. The identity stuff that is just attached onto email and phone. The residential proxy network field, that's just attached to the IP. The standalone products work really well when layered in with our others. So, this is just really covering up all of the gaps that maybe, you would have by just, providing more. So that is it from me on the spotlight. Dennis, you want to take it away?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, honestly, what you're talking about there, we get to it again, the multi-layer approach. And everyone knows I love talking about onions and the onion theory. So one thing that we love to discuss at IPQS is that we're not just one layer in fighting fraud. We feel like we're almost every layer in fighting fraud. So if there's a gap in email or phone or IP or device fingerprinting, our other data works together to kind of solve those gaps. So obviously everyone in here probably already knows who IPQS is. You're probably already a customer, but we have been growing a lot. I mean, we're over 3,500 customers. And as you all know, as fraud evolves, we have to evolve. We're over 70 employees now, still a bootstrap company. Everyone wants to give us money and help us grow faster, but we're growing just great by doing it bootstrapped. And it helps us keep focused on our customers, keep building new products, new data sources, and keep enhancing what we're already doing. And I want to say that we have happy customers. And from the comments I do get from the customers, it sounds like we're doing a great thing. And I'll kind of just end on this. Everyone knows that we get our data differently, and we love building honeypots. As you all know, we have a distillery, a coffee roastery, and we did sign some pretty big ticketing customers. So helping with bots that were buying tickets and things of that nature. We did actually just acquire a soccer team as well. So we have the Oakland County Football Club as an IPQS honeypot as well. And we're already seeing ticketing fraud there, understanding it more. But these are the things we like to do to evolve the level that IPQS is at. But let's get some questions and answers. If anyone has anything, feel free to drop it in there, and we'll answer those live.
Thanks, Dennis. So a question to you. Shay was talking about the fact that we've really expanded the development team and the people working on the product. Are there any big product things coming down the road that you can share that has been worked on by the IPQS team at the moment?
Dennis, do you want to talk to roadmap? Or I
You know
can.
what? You can share some stuff you can, but I like to kind of keep that under wraps, talk one-on-one and kind of share that with customers that are interested in that. But I'll also say, if anyone wants to see anything on our roadmap, please reach out to us and share that, because we do love to build for our customers. A lot of the enhancements and updates that you're seeing is because we had customers ask us to build custom stuff for them, and now we're able to evolve that and share that with all of our customers. So we want our customers to be a part of that roadmap. So that's the best way to answer that. But yes, there's always new things in the roadmap. There's always new things happening. And we'll definitely have another webinar for those.
Okay, great. So more to come on that. A question, I'll throw this at you, Shay. So if I already had the IP database, is the IP abuse feed additional help or additional requirements? What would you advise somebody who's already using our database?
Yes, I would highly recommend it. Primarily because the IP database is encompassing every IP, right? So maybe you're doing enrichment on events that are coming through or verification that are coming through. This is more about reacting. The abuse feed is about being proactive. And the update frequency on this data is pretty important too. Most IP database clients are downloading that once every 24 hours. But you'd be kind of missing out on something that is brand new compromised. So the threat feed there is outside of the 24-hour scope. But if you're looking for something in the past 5 minutes, that's how you can stay ahead of that. So point in time, sort of. Go ahead.
Finish that up, and let me just add a little comment.
No. Point in time, sort of identification on the here and now. On the most abusive IP addresses that we're seeing out there. So different use cases, but they layer in perfectly.
Yeah, and the easiest way to understand this is the IP database is very important to have, and it's very easy to understand it because you can think of our IP database as basically having every grain of sand in the world, right? So there's a lot of sand out there, right? We actually have more IPs than there is grains of sand in the world. So you can think of that as our IP database, but the threat feed, what's beautiful is, say that you want to see, the hottest sand in one geo. Like the threat feed is going to give you that hottest sand so you can be aware of it, and you don't have to go filter through all that. We're already giving you the most fraudulent, hottest sand out there, and we're making it easier for you to understand the data.
I guess a lot can change in 24 hours in the world of fraud, so having that additional insight is key. Switching track slightly, question on the enhanced identity checks. What would the main use cases you would advise for that?
So use cases that I would really recommend this for is, I mean, new account registration is kind of an obvious one. Transaction verification, credit underwriting for loans, maybe even student applications and registrations around that. Um, yeah, what else? I mean, anything that involves ingesting an email or a phone and really needing to understand the identity of that user are all great use cases. Lead generation, things like that.
Yeah, and it's always good to reach out to our team and we can look if the data will help you out. So that's something that Shay and his team in the solutions engineering department love to look at. So we can definitely help you figure that out and see if it's a good fit for you. But like Shay mentioned, all those are good fits and there's even more to uncover. So
We've had a question in about the fintech space. So it seems as if companies are always treating symptoms rather than the cause regards to fraud. How can IPQS help treat the causes rather than symptoms a bit? And I think Dennis has probably talked a bit about our proactive approach. So actually trying to go out and seek, really understand the malicious, the profile of malicious traffic. Would you agree?
100% agree. I mean, our slogan used to be proactively prevent fraud. But obviously now it's fraud intelligence supercharged because the data is important. But we think that it should be common sense that you're proactively stopping fraud. So there's a lot of companies out there today that are looking at the data after the fact and being like, oh yeah, this was a chargeback because of this. We're looking at things like, let's stop that before it happens. A lot of companies are focused on, catching fake identities, doing biometrics, and figuring out if this identity is fake or real. But that's not the problem we're seeing. What we're seeing is I can go and buy a real stolen ID. So those identity checks aren't really going to help you after the fact or during the fact. We want to look at that connection and know that connection before it actually proactively becomes a fraudulent issue for you.
And be able to use the multi-layers to really kind of get to the bottom of that. There's a question on whether there's any plans to add document identity verification features to the product.
Yep, we're already building this out. And like I just said, it is important to do that, but there's so many stolen real IDs out there that it's very easy for me to create a synthetic account and upload a real ID. And bypass those triggers that are already in place to catch that. So what we like to do is already figure out if this is a good connection or a bad connection, a good user or a bad user. And when we look at the IP, the email, the phone, the device ID, the device fingerprint, all of that stuff is going to help us figure that out before we even get that. But we have customers because of compliance that need that. So we are in the process of building that out as well.
One of the nice exciting product updates down the road then. A question on the email database. How do you source the information for the email database?
Yeah, so that has been collected, I mean, over the span of the past decade. We're ingesting all of these email validation requests, when we're allowed to store that data, and capturing the validity status of that, the activity that we see around that email address, deliverability, and then tying in a lot of our threat information. So tying in the disposable kind of MX records or domains that we see frequently abused, and some other abuse information specific to the email address themselves.
And that database is constantly growing.
Yeah, it's like I said, right now the database is 1.6. We are looking at that being approximately 3 billion records before the end of the year. And we expect our sort of month over month growth rate to be around 250 million addresses. That's what we typically see.
Nice. So unless there are any other questions come in, any closing thoughts, Dennis, to the customers that have tuned in today, about kind of what advice you would give to them about how to use the new IPQS product suite?
Yeah, I mean, be proactive, use what's available out to you, and then question everything. So, I shouldn't say question IPQS, but question the data sources you use, figure out where they're coming from, how they're used, best practices. utilize the company that's trying to sell a product for you to use, because I do see a lot of vaporware out there, stale data and not good stuff. So we love to be challenged by our customers. So please keep challenging us. And that will continue to make us better, stronger, and give you better data and tools.
Cool. Okay, so thank you both for taking us through that. And thank you everybody for attending. We will be sending out some information with links to the different products we've talked about. There's information on the website, or reach out to any of the IPQS team and we'd be happy to help. And unless there's any other comments, we can wrap. Cool. Well, thank you very much for
Fantastic.
attending, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.